The average American upgrades their phone every 1 to 2 years. Now that seems crazy to me because I've had this iPhone 8 Plus for about 3 years now. And I mean, sure, the camera might not be what it once was, but let's be honest, I am way too cheap to upgrade my device. Hey team, welcome back to another Levi's Save the World Hildebrand episode, the channel where we prove that you don't need to be a hero to save the planet. Today we are going to be talking about upgrade culture and why you probably don't need to upgrade the device that you have right now. Later in the video, I'm going to be talking about Pellicase phone cases, which are an incredible compostable alternative to the plastic stuff that we have right now. If you do decide to make a purchase through the link down in the description, you will save yourself 10% off of any purchase, and there will be a commission kickback that goes to supporting me and everything that I do on this channel. So full disclosure there, let's move on with the video. Now, I firmly believe that having access to the internet and having a device that can get you that access is extremely important for anyone who wants to live a full life in a digital world. To get a job, to have a social life, to be able to follow me on Instagram and Twitter. I mean, these phones and these devices are integral to our everyday life. So before we get into any of the nitty-gritty, I'm going to break down 3 very simple rules why I think that you probably don't need to upgrade your device. Number 1 is cost. If you are like the average American and you upgrade your device every 1 to 2 years, then you are essentially buying high and then selling low, because the phones depreciate the most within that first year or 2 of ownership. I think the ideal situation is that you can get between 4 and 5 years out of a device. With this logic, you're buying a device between anywhere from $500 to $1,000, and then that means that you're spending about $100 to $200 a year, which is really reasonable. This is a very basic Mennonite principle that my dad raised me with. Buy something that's high quality and keep it forever. Another great way for you to make sure that your device lasts as long as possible is to buy a case for it. Number 2, is it an upgrade? I researched the purchase of this laptop for years before I pulled the trigger, and I've got to be honest, the upgrade was not as massive as the price tag. Don't get me wrong, this is a very nice computer, and it's part of the reason why you're able to even watch this video right now. But let's be honest, $4,000 is a lot of money to get rid of FOMO. And yes, I'm editing in our car right now.
Hi.
Number 3, environmental issues. The amount of minerals and different substances that go into a computer or a laptop nowadays is mind-boggling. E-waste from stuff like our phones and laptops is the largest growing waste stream globally, and it's really, really dumb. Not only is it a huge environmental cost to extract all of these valuable precious minerals that build these devices, but then we're throwing it away without recovering any of it? Not only does this mean that people in lower income countries are forced to do the dangerous work of breaking these devices apart, but it also means that we're missing out on the estimated $62.5 billion worth of material that are being discarded. Now, these are all of the immediate reasons why upgrading your device is not necessary, but for many people in the millennial generation, this is not a question of whether or not it's the right thing to do, it's just the way that we were raised. And this comes down to a massive generational understanding of how we consume stuff. Let me show you. So as many of you know, Leah and I have been living out of our parents' homes while we wait for our apartment to be built. During this time, we've been able to see a certain generational divide on how we and our parents' parents' generations interact with stuff, technology included. For example, my grandmother is 87 years old. She was born during the Great Depression and she was a child throughout the Second World War. She knows what rationing was like. So the things that she has bought and owned throughout her life were sacred because there was always this underlying fear that it could be taken away at any second. And for someone who has been through so much and lived such a full life, she still has an incredible sense of humor.
No, you know what he's doing. This is Levi, and he's setting up his camera. And there's this fluffy-tailed thing pointing in my general direction. Say hi to him yourself.
My parents' generation might not have those same anxieties, but they are no less invested in making sure that they keep things as long as possible rather than replacing them. Honestly, they go out of their way to make sure things last as long as possible. I mean, honestly, look at this radio. And then you find our generation, fully steeped in the times of abundance. The buying of stuff and the getting rid of old stuff is just kind of the way things have always been for us, and we're at a point where we don't even question it. So no, it's not normal the way that we consume right now, and in fact, this small sliver of human society where we have been consuming like we have has been really, really short. And so now you're saying, yes, Levi, I get it. The world does not need me to have another iPhone, but I'm going to make the upgrade eventually. How do I do so in a better way? Well, fortunately, you've already clicked on this video, so I will indulge you with my answer. Number one, what kind of upgrade do you need? I believe that upgrades should be dictated first by the condition of the device itself, and then secondly, by what you need that device for. For most people who are just using their devices for general internet use and maybe the odd phone call, basically any iPhone or Android device will be able to do everything that you need. Now, I am what I call a professional phone user in the sense that I use my phone as a work tool. I take pictures for Instagram that are sponsored. I create video content for TikTok and YouTube with my phone all the time. Because of that, I consider my phone to be one of my most valuable and most used tools as a creator, and it's super important that I have one that does all the things that I need and works really well. But even with all that in mind, I'm still using a 4-year-old iPhone 8 Plus. But it really doesn't matter what you're using your phone for if your phone is broken, so buy yourself a case for it. Pellicase phone cases are super rugged and keep your phone safe from all the daily damages that might occur, and they're better for the planet as well. These little puppies are made out of completely compostable material, and they're even mixed with flax chive, an agricultural byproduct, to increase the amount of all natural materials in them. Leah and I have been using these phone cases exclusively for the last 4 or 5 years, and we've never had a problem. In fact, the one crack that I actually have on this phone is from when I didn't have my phone case on it. These cases will break down in any composting facility, and if you don't have one near you, you can send them back to Pellicase and they'll compost it for you. So if you want to protect your device and the planet, head down to the description where you can save yourself 10% on your purchase and send a small kickback to support what I'm doing here on this channel. Number two, what kind of upgrade are you getting? It's very easy to feel like the upgrade that you should get is the best possible device that's available on the market today. But that's not necessarily the case. Digital cell phone and laptop technology has kind of plateaued in the last 2 or 3 years, and that means that the best of the best latest iPhone is only marginally better than the one that was released 1 or 2 years ago. Along this same rationale, buying something secondhand or refurbished is a really awesome way to go. This is actually the only brand new Mac that I have ever purchased. Basically, all of my other devices were bought secondhand or refurbished. But not only that, an old device for you is a new device for somebody else. I gave my old MacBook Air to Leah. My old MacBook Pro is being used by our friend Kate. My parents have both of Leah and I's old iPhones, and even my 2009 MacBook is being used as a recipe reader by my auntie. Needless to say, we're kind of an Apple family, and there's a good reason for that. My parents owned the original Macintosh computer, and since then, we have pretty well only ever purchased Apple products. The reason being that Apple provided a longer lasting, higher quality product than what was available on the market at the time. Today, Apple is trying to take that one step forward by becoming an environmentally conscious company as well. They have recently announced an ambitious plan to make their entire company and supply chain carbon neutral by 2030. This is building on what was already a very comprehensive sustainability mandate that Apple upheld. This plan includes a whole bunch of really commendable things that Apple is trying to achieve, such as recycled materials, packaging reductions, and an overall effort to try and reduce the amount of carbon emissions that they create as a company. But all of these hopes and dreams are sort of overshadowed by the Apple business model. Because the honest truth is, Apple products are not lasting as long as they used to. My previous MacBook Pro was the last model that you weren't able to expand the internal storage. Had that computer allowed for me to expand and improve on the already existing hardware, I would probably still be using that computer. And it would be great if the solution was just to boycott Apple products, but unfortunately they are not the outlier in this industry. Basically, every single phone and laptop manufacturer does this. Now, fortunately, there is an exciting company out there doing something a little different. Fairphone is a modular cell phone company that builds these devices based off of an Android operating system. The very simple idea being that you should be able to replace different parts of your phone as they break and wear down. Everything from the motherboard to the battery to the camera can be completely replaced within these devices. The one downside is that these things are not going to be top of the line, leading edge technology. It seems like generally all of their phones are about 2 to 3 years behind the technology curve, but as I said at the beginning of this video, for most people, that's probably fine. Personally, I've not bought a Fairphone because I am a really hardcore cell phone user. I am constantly working from my device, and honestly, the idea of me having to work harder and longer to do the things that I need to do for my business because of that crucial tool is just not something that I can do as a professional. But if you would like to see me talk about the Fairphone more in depth, maybe I can get my hands on one and give it a try and review it on this channel. I would actually be kind of interested to see how it performs. Let me know if you're interested in seeing something like that down in the comments below. So in summary, keep your phone as long as you possibly can. And if you do need to upgrade, try getting it secondhand or refurbished, and buy a freaking case for your phone so that it lasts as long as possible. There is a ton of other stuff that I would have loved to cover in this video, so if I missed anything, please comment them down below so that other people can see them and we can swap some ideas. But regardless of what device you're using and how old it is, I want to thank you for watching today's video. And if you are subscribed to this channel, which you very much should be, then we will see you in the next one.